Welcome back, students. Today we're going to be talking about perpetuities. My student loves these problems because they're basically free points on the exam. Okay, let's get into this. Leave me your time value of money questions. I will answer them in a video for you. And don't forget, you can download this file and follow along. Okay, so a quick overview. The purpose of today's video is to understand and identify how to calculate perpetuity problems. I do have the formula here for a perpetuity. The present value of a perpetuity is the yearly cash flow divided by the interest rate. It's as simple as that. Of course, if I ask for the yearly cash flow, then we can, move things around algebraically. I can ask for any one of these three variables and you should be able to solve it. All right. So we're going to jump into the questions here. You're going to see the mathematics are actually pretty simple, but I am going to prove this using Excel, okay? Because sometimes I get some students that are really doubtful of what I'm saying here. They say, how could this be, right? So let's get into this question with our highlighter. You have won the lottery and expect a payout of $50,000 in perpetuity. That's important here. If the current interest rates are 5%, here comes the question, what is the value of this stream of payments today? So we have our formula over here on the right. So it's asking, what is the value of this stream of payments today? The stream of payments is $50,000 in perpetuity, and the interest rate is 5%. So present value of the perpetuity is going to be equal to the 50,000 divided by 0.05. That means that the present value of this perpetuity is going to be equal to $1 million. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to write out $1 million. So you say to yourself, well, how can this be if after 10 years, right, of getting $50,000 payments, that's $500,000. And after 20 years, that's $1 million. So if I'm expected to receive $50,000 forever, how can the present value only be $1 million? Okay, so bear with me here, okay? I'm going to bust out the Excel. And let me tell you what you're looking at here, okay? You have the years that we're receiving the $50,000 that you have here, okay? And we have the present value of each one of those years. So for example, the $50,000 in year one discounted back at 5% is only $47,619. And how can I prove that? Let's grab our financial calculator here. We have 1 year, discount rate of 5%. We have 0 payments. We're looking for the present value. And we have a future value of that first year of $50,000. So I'm going to compute the present value. We have 47,619.04. I'm ignoring the cents in Excel, but I promise you they are there, right? 0.048. Okay. Just to prove that point, right? 0.048. Okay. All right. So that's what this is worth. Don't mind the negatives at this point. I've told Excel to forget them because they just make things kind of messy. So look at this second year we're receiving the $50,000. So I'm just going to change this to 2 years, and I'm going to compute the present value. 45,351. That's what I have here, right? Okay. Let's go through this, and let's just find the present value of the first 10 years. Now, I'm not going to do it all here. I do have a bit of a plan, okay? So don't worry, just bear with me. Okay, so like I mentioned before, in the first 10 years, look, you get $500,000. However, from a present value perspective, we only get $386,087. Let me prove this $30,000 to you here by grabbing my financial calculator, and it's year 10, as you can see here, right? I'm going to just change this to 10 years, and I'm going to compute the present value. So $50,000, 10 years out into the future, is only worth $30,695.66, right? Which is the same as we have here. Okay, so the present value of the first 10 years of that perpetuity is only worth $386,000. Now, I'm going to give you something a little bit more visually easy to follow. Okay, we're going to pull this formula here for the first 10 years. So same thing, right? Notice my year number 10 right here. I'm just going to highlight that. Okay, and so you can see on the calculator, year 10 is still the same, $30,695.66. And when I sum up the first 10 years, I get $386.87, which is the same as I have here, right? So let's take this perpetuity out. Let's take it out to 50 years, and let's see what this is worth, right? So I'm just going to drag this out for 50 years and see what you get in terms of a present value of 50 years of these streams of income. So now we have $912,000, and that's 50 years of receiving $50,000. Okay, now let's go out 100 years. Let's grab some of these and then let's drag it out to 100 years, and let's see what the present value is. I have a little marker here to tell me where 100 years is. So look at this. $50,000 promised 100 years from now, discounted at 5%, is only worth $380.22. I'm going to walk you through that in the calculator, right? 100 years, discounted at 5%, 0 payments. This is a future value, $50,000, is the present value, $380.22. Now, I could have just changed this to $100. Now, when I sum up all of these to find the present value, look, I only get $992,396. So you'll notice that, to get to $1 million, there's only there's only a little bit less than $8,000 left. So let's go from 100 now to 200 years. Let's grab a few more of these here. Go to 200 years, and let's see, where does that get us? So now 200 years out, $50,000 is only worth $2.89. Let's change that to 200 years. Basically $50,000 promised 200 years from now is worth nothing. It's worth $2.89, right? So what does that leave us in terms of present value? Well, we're only now a little bit like $58 from $1 million. So how many years do we need to go out, right, to get to that $1 million that I said was the present value? Now, I told you the perpetuity is forever. So I could drag this, to 1,000 years, 1 million years, it doesn't matter. But I think if I leave it here at year 372, basically that $50,000 is worthless. And you could drag this out 500, 1,000 years, it doesn't matter. Look at the present value. It is $1 million, just like the math that we calculated. So this avoids you having to do every single one of these, which we could only really do in Excel. So that is exactly what the present value formula is telling us, right? It's the sum of all of those, the entirety of an infinite amount of $50,000 payments every year, discounted back at 5%, is only worth $1 million in hand today. I hope that was clear. I won't do that for every single problem, but I thought it'd be good to show you guys in the beginning how the math actually works. So go back and take a look at that if you need to look at it again. I know we probably went through it a little bit fast. Okay, let's keep moving here. So you are looking to sell your business, okay, which is expected to make $75,000 in net income in perpetuity. You have received an offer of $1.5 million. Current interest rates are 6%. Is this a good offer? So we are validating this number to see if we're getting a good offer on our money. So remember, the present value of the perpetuity is going to be equal to the yearly cash flow divided by the interest rate, which in this case is 0.06. Let's grab our financial calculator. We're going to clear our time value of money, but we're not using time value of money here. That's what makes this so simple. 75,000 divided by 0.06 is equal to 1.25 million, right? So the present value is going to be, okay, 1.25 million. We're being offered 1.5. This is a good offer. You should take the offer of 1.5 million. Okay? All right. Simple enough, right? Simple enough. Okay, let's keep moving here. There's only 5 questions total, so this should be very simple. So a nonprofit organization will receive from an endowment fund an annual payout of $100,000 in perpetuity. If current interest rates are 7%, here comes the question, what is the value of that $100,000 today? Present value of the perpetuity. So we're going to be receiving $100,000 and interest rates are 7% or 0.07 for our calculations. So we're just going to clear our information here. 100,000 divided by 0.07 is 1.428 million. Okay. 428. And then what do we have for the rest of it? 571 and 43 cents. I want to make sure that's right. 571 and 43 cents. Okay, that's what that $100,000 is worth today. Now, notice if we increase the interest rate, right? Let's say we increase it to 10%, right? So we take our 100,000 and we divide by 0.1, which is 10%. Notice that that's only $1 million. So as you increase this interest rate, you decrease the present value. You're increasing the amount of the discount, right? So you're getting less today. If we decrease it to, let's say, 5%, so we have $100,000 divided by 0.05, that's going to give us $2 million. Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there so you guys can get comfortable with noticing the changes in the impact of the interest rate. Okay, let's keep going here. Your client is hoping to sell his business, which generates $50,000 yearly in free cash flow, and is expected to do so in perpetuity. If current interest rates are 6%, what is the value of this free cash flow payments today? So simple, right? Present value of the perpetuity is the 50,000 divided by 6%. That does not look like a 6. There we go. Okay, so clear our work. 50,000 divided by 0.06. That's going to be 833,333. 833,033 cents. Okay, simple enough. I think we got one more question. Last one, okay? You inherited $1 million, should have had dollars on there, and want to use it to generate a steady stream of annual income for the rest of your life. You can invest the $1 million, okay, at an annual interest rate of 6%. What is the maximum? So here's a question. What is the maximum annual amount you can withdraw each year without depleting the principal investment? Okay, so what do we have here, right? We have our present value and we have the interest rate. So present value is equal to our 1 million. The interest rate is going to be 6% or 0.06 for our math, right? So we're trying to figure out what is the maximum annual amount. That's a yearly cash flow. We're trying to figure out this part here. Okay, so all that means is we got to do some math, right? We got our 1 million is equal to, this is our unknown variable. Our interest rate is 0.06. And then all that means is we multiply both sides, right? We're going to do some little bit of algebra here. We multiply both sides by 0.06, 0.06, okay? So in this case, this crosses out. And then that leaves us with the x on one side by itself. I'm just going to move it to the other side. X is equal to 0.06 times, right, $1 million, which is going to be, if my math is correct, you should be able to take out $60,000 forever without depleting your funds, right? So let's double check my math. Why not? 1 million times 0.06, that's $60,000. Okay, simple enough. Simple enough. If you can manipulate this formula to find what you need, you should be totally fine. So a few takeaways. Okay, is look for questions that mention the word perpetuity, obviously, and understand the formula relating to the present value of the perpetuity. It's as simple as that. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. I hope the Excel helped a little bit. Let me know if it did or didn't, because that helps me when I'm making other videos. All right, I'll see you in the next one.